Tonight on TV2 News, Kent State is offering free testing to students this week after its biggest mass testing event to date yesterday. Lines so long they had to cut them off at 4 p.m. We take a look at the event.
And the state of Ohio's revised mask mandate is now in effect. The guidelines, provision, and penalties ahead as the state's case surge remains rampant.
And as we enter our last week of in-person classes here on campus, you should be thinking of your traveling home plans. We have tips to get you back home safely for the Thanksgiving holiday.
Also ahead, Northeast Ohio hospitals take action. Their pleas to residents come as the state's hospital bed capacity dwindles. This and more only on TV2 News.
This is TV2 News.
Good evening. The time is now 6:01 p.m. and this is TV2 News. I'm Lexi Biasi.
And I'm Kyle Miller. Hundreds of students were lined up on campus yesterday to get tested for COVID-19.
The mass testing event was put on by the university in the city of Kent. Lines spanned from the Kiva all the way down to Midway Drive. Chris Abreu was there and has the latest.
Kent State University had a mass COVID-19 testing event in the Student Center yesterday from 2 to 5 p.m. ahead of the school closing down. The goal is to get students and any others to test before going home to their families ahead of the holidays. The Kent City Health Department's Public Information Officer, Michael Anguilano, echoed concerns ahead of the holidays, saying it will take everyone to slow the spread.
It's going to take not going out to parties. It's going to take abandoning the previous Thanksgiving traditions for 1 year and maybe the Christmas traditions for 1 year and not gathering. But for 1 year, we need to take this very seriously, especially with things about to be closed up for the winter. We have to do whatever it takes to slow the virus down, and that, unfortunately, right now is going to take really locking back up and acting like it's April. We need to go back into lockdown.
Anguilano continued to estimate the turnout of the event to be about 250. Students attending mentioned that they felt safe to a certain degree from the virus there, despite the large number of participants.
Honestly, with all of us wearing our masks, I feel like we're all a good enough distance away and nobody's really standing face to face. So I don't feel uncomfortable, but I was thinking to myself maybe they should have put X's on the ground or done something just a little bit different to make sure that people stay socially distanced.
Students participating felt that it was highly important to get tested before everyone heads back to their families for Thanksgiving.
Sorry. I want to get tested just so when I go home to my family, I'm keeping them safe, smart, and it's easily accessible here. So
yeah, same for me. My mom wanted me to get tested before I came home for Thanksgiving.
My parents specifically asked me to before I came home, and I just want to protect their health.
Anguilano stated that the best way to keep not only yourself, but your family healthy this holiday season is to get tested. Reporting for TV2 News in Kent, I'm Chris Abreu.
Looking at Ohio's numbers today, the total reported cases are down, but hospitalizations are up. The state counts 7,268 cases in the past 24 hours, a decrease of 585 from yesterday. There were 213 new hospitalizations, bringing the state's total to over 22,000. The number of confirmed cases and probable cases in the state now sits at 305,364 to date since the start of the pandemic.
And with this increase in cases, Kent State continues to encourage students to get tested throughout the week before heading home for Thanksgiving. Our reporter Grace Hare got some tips from Kent City Health Department on how to stay safe on your trip home and show students how to sign up for testing.
Home this weekend for the holidays. I spoke with Health Department Accreditation Coordinator Michael Anguilano about ways students can keep safe while returning home. And later, how students can register and find COVID testing in an area near them.
It's very important to, be tested, whether you have been in a precarious situation and may have been exposed to COVID or not. If you're moving out of your dorm, then limiting the number of people who are coming to help you move out. That's a big one, much like for the move-in when you were limiting people to help you move in.
Kent State encourages students to still follow the Flash Safe 7 rules even when returning home.
You probably should be sanitizing the stuff that you're bringing home and things that you've touched. You may want to consider going into a self-quarantine.
Kent State is allowing COVID-19 testing at the Kiva, which will be open for any student to take before heading home for the holidays. To schedule an appointment, please visit Kent State coronavirus update pages. Click the first link that says Testing and Prevention. From there, press the last link that says COVID-19 Health and Resources. This will direct you to the Kent State COVID-19 Health and Resources page. Press the third link down that says COVID-19 Testing. This will take you to a free testing offered by Kent State through CVS Health. Press the second link down that says Schedule Your Tests via the CVS website. There, it will direct you to the CVS website where you are able to schedule an appointment. Please fill in all the information needed. Once you are done, press Get Started. From there, it will direct you to a page that will show all the available COVID-19 testing options within your area. You can also schedule a COVID-19 test by calling the Dewey's Health Center at 330-672-2322. For more information on coronavirus updates, please visit kent.edu/coronavirus. I'm Grace Hare, reporting for TV2 News.
Northeast Ohio saw some strong winds yesterday, so much that I was struggling walking back to my apartment from my car. There were lots of reported power outages in Portage County, and according to First Energy, it may be days until power is fully restored. As of now, about 4,600 residents and businesses still do not have power, and it is not estimated to be restored until Thursday around 4 p.m.
Oh, hello everyone. I'm TV2 weather anchor Odin Amador-Gorby. Well, we will get a break from the severe weather yesterday, but keep getting things colder. Currently in Kent right now, it is 56 degrees right now. Feels like 37 out there right now. Dew point at 21 and visibility at 10 miles per hour. And as we go through here, let's check out our current temperatures across our great old state. 56 degrees in Kent, 40 in Cleveland, 43 in Sandusky, as the temperatures are starting to go down with the sun as well. Statewide, we are literally noticing how we're starting to see that decreasing in temperatures. 58 in Akron, 53 in Columbus, and 50 in Cincinnati. Definitely feels like fall out there this evening. And your hourly forecast shows 39 degrees and cloudy towards your 7 o'clock. Midnight, we will be dealing with cloudy skies at 38 degrees, and towards 6 p.m., 33 degrees with clouds. So right now, we will be keeping an eye on these things, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the severe weather that we had yesterday. That's all I have for you right now. Please stay tuned for my full forecast. Lexi, Kyle, back to you guys at the desk.
New COVID-19 news, Moderna says its coronavirus vaccine is nearly 95% effective. The company plans to seek FDA authorization for the immunization after more safety data is gathered later this month. It's the second vaccine in the United States to have a stunningly high success rate. Last week, Pfizer announced that early data shows its vaccine is more than 90% effective against the virus. It's expected that high-risk groups like healthcare workers, the elderly, and people with underlying medical conditions would get the vaccine first. It could be available to everyone else by spring 2021.
By the end of this year, we said that in the United States, we expect to have 20 million doses. And so I think by the end of the year, hopefully, we could start to vaccinate people. I'm obviously very happy with the number that we have at 94.5%. I think realistically, both of our platforms validate each other in a very important way because both use mRNA technology.
And among the list of changes Governor DeWine is bringing to the state in an effort to curb coronavirus numbers, the new updated Ohio mask mandate went into effect today. The order restates that everyone 10 years or older must wear a facial covering when in a retail store. Now, some stores have had trouble getting people to comply. Governor DeWine suggests hiring a compliance officer to help efforts. The governor said he has no problem punishing businesses that do not comply. Again, this went into effect today.
And Ohio Governor Mike DeWine has issued a revised health order on mass gatherings in order to limit the spread of the coronavirus. The order places restrictions on large gatherings and events such as weddings, funerals, and other events at banquet facilities. The restrictions include mask mandates, no more than 10 guests at a table, and guests must remain seated at all times. The order does not apply to religious gatherings, First Amendment protected speech, and government meetings that require public access.
The heads of 6 Northeast Ohio hospital systems took out a full-page ad in the Sunday Plain Dealer for a letter that implores Ohioans not to give in to COVID fatigue, as coronavirus cases in Ohio continue to dramatically rise. The doctors say that though we cannot simply wish the virus away, we can try to curb its spread. This comes as healthcare workers are in the 9th month of battling COVID-19, and the number of available hospital beds is starting to decrease.
Well, we're certainly not overwhelmed yet, but we monitor this every day. We have a good system in Ohio that we set up very early on with 3 different zones in the state and the bigger hospitals taking care of the smaller hospitals. But we've already seen some of our major hospitals pull back this past week in regard to some elective surgeries. So we don't like to see that. We don't like to see any kind of health care delayed. So that's the early sign that there is certainly a problem.
And coming up, President Trump takes to Twitter following comments made by Governor DeWine on the Biden administration's transition of power. What he had to say ahead.
Sticking with Biden, nearly half of his transition team is making history. Why those helping him to get to the White House in January are so special.
This Thanksgiving holiday may be one of the least traveled yet, according to AAA. More on what the organization says is expected this Turkey Day when TV2 returns.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made home ownership happen. Homeschooling yourself on loans, beefing up your credit score.
So I'm pre-approved.
You were like, yes! Sorry. Color coding listings, ticking boxes, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. Home sweet home. You aced house hunting. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Thanks for sticking with us. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine urged President Donald Trump to allow the normal transition of power to his successor, President-elect Joe Biden. DeWine said it's clear that Joe Biden is the president-elect and it's important for the country to start the transition of power. But DeWine also said that we should respect the president's legal actions while also starting the process. Last week, DeWine became one of the first governors of a state won by Trump to acknowledge Biden's victory. Trump has refused to concede since the vote count put the race out of reach for him as the election was called by several media organizations.
You're regular about that. On the other hand, it's clear that certainly based on what we know now that Joe Biden is the president-elect, and that transition for the country's sake, it's important for a normal transition to start through. And the president can go on his other track, his legal track. We should respect that.
President Trump released a tweet this morning stating that the race for Ohio governor will be hotly contested. The tweet comes after Governor Mike DeWine appeared on CNN Sunday urging his fellow Republicans to begin working toward a smooth transition to the Biden administration. Many Ohio Republicans have already been at odds with DeWine due to his response to the COVID-19 pandemic, and it is expected that he will be challenged in the primaries by a far-right challenger. DeWine is up for re-election in 2022. Nearly half of President-elect Joe Biden's transition team is made up of people of color.
The team's diversity data also show just over half the staff members are women. People with disabilities and members of the LGBTQ community are also going to help with the transition. During his campaign, Biden was also committed to diversity. That was epitomized by his choice of Vice President-elect Kamala Harris as his running mate.
The Kent Interfaith Alliance for Racial Reconciliation and Justice is sponsoring a second social justice event on Thursday. The event will show a documentary titled The Children's March at 7 p.m. via Zoom. The film tells the true story of students in Birmingham, Alabama in 1963 who showed inspiring courage, commitment, and leadership. After the film ends, people will have the opportunity to discuss and explore the role of activism, especially during the pandemic. You can participate at the link below. And as coronavirus cases increase across the United States, Zoom announced it will be changing its time limit, for meetings on Thanksgiving. In a tweet, the company said the normal 40-minute restriction on free meetings will be lifted at midnight on Thanksgiving Day through 6 a.m. on November 27th. Zoom's free plan also allows for 100 participants in a meeting. This update comes after health officials encouraged Americans to stay home, socially distance, and wear masks for their Thanksgiving celebrations.
And even though this Thanksgiving traffic is expected to be lighter and gas prices cheaper, AAA predicts still fewer Americans are planning to travel this holiday. After another rise in cases of COVID-19 across the country, Mandy Gaither has more on the Thanksgiving travel outlook in today's Consumer Watch.
Like most things this year, Thanksgiving is expected to be different.
People are just making the decision not to travel. We're going to see an at least 10% decline compared to 2019.
Jeanette McGee with AAA says their original forecast predicted about 50 million Americans planning to go somewhere over the holiday.
But since that forecast was put together, we know that number has definitely decreased. And that's because it's the pandemic. COVID numbers are increasing and states are changing their regulations, their guidance in terms of travel when you leave the state or when you return.
Of those traveling, AAA predicts 95% will go by car to places close by and be gone for fewer days. If you plan to travel, plan ahead.
Pack more food and water than you typically do to limit, the number of steps you have to make. You need a thermometer, you need your mask, hand sanitizers, and cleaning supplies.
As for traffic, Wednesday afternoon is expected to be the busiest, but McGee says the roads won't look like they typically do over this holiday.
When you're going through major cities, you can expect some delays, but those delays are more like 20 minutes to 60 minutes, not hours and hours of delay.
Still, if you're going somewhere, AAA recommends leaving early or late, especially around cities and rush hour times. For Consumer Watch, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Hello everyone, I'm TV2 weather anchor Odin Amador-Gorby back with your TV2 weather report. So right now, as you could, apologize there. All right, so here's your top weather headlines for this Monday. Severe weather was reported yesterday all across Ohio, as Lexi was talking about, with damaging winds. Severe thunderstorm warnings were being issued. There was heavy rain in some places, and even pea-sized hail, which I will get to in just a second, was reported all across the area. Even yesterday, we had tornado warning in November in Ashtabula County. Now, there was no report of a tornado, but there was rotation in that thunderstorm, so that's why the National Weather Service had to issue it. But fortunately, everyone's okay. There was power outages reported, along with storm damage reported all across Ohio, which we will get to in a moment. But we will be experiencing a brief warm-up coming up this weekend as temperatures will be climbing up into the 60s. And currently right now, apparently my graphic isn't there, all right, here it is. Here's one right here. So these were the severe weather reports we had yesterday, and as you can see, the blue dots show the wind damage reports that we've had all across our area, along with power outages and whatnot. We had severe thunderstorm warnings in Summit County, Cuyahoga County, and Portage County yesterday. We had a tornado warning in Ashtabula County. We had a severe thunderstorm watch issued for most of Ohio, and we also had a wind advisory issued for all of our state. As you can tell, it was really bad yesterday. So as you can see, here's our local radar right here, folks, and right now it's pretty clear. Nothing to report like we had yesterday, so thankfully that's the case. All right, here's your 7-day outlook, and as you can tell, we will be dealing with some snow, believe it or not, tomorrow. But then towards your Wednesday, we'll be dealing with some sunny skies, and towards Thursday and Friday, we will be dealing with partly cloudy skies, as we will continue to deal with rain towards your Sunday and Monday. That's all I have for you today. Make sure you stay warm out there, Portage County. Take care.
It's that time of year. If you haven't gotten your list to Santa yet, the U.S. Postal Service wants you to get on your sleigh and get your letters mailed in time to the big guy. More on how you can do that coming up.
Could the Browns advance to 6-3 for the first time since 2014? Find out as I'll have all the highlights in my sports report.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
And now, your TV2 Sports Report.
Good evening, Portage County. I'm Connor Mills. A former Golden Flash represented the school well this past weekend at golf's greatest event. Former Kent State golf star Corey Connors became the first Golden Flash in history to secure a top 10 finish at the Masters on Sunday. Connors finished 9 under par for the tournament, which was good enough for a tie for 10th place. Connors became the first Golden Flash alum since Ben Curtis to crack the top 40 at the Augusta National. For the weekend, Connors won over $287,500 for his 10th place finish. Congratulations, Corey. Despite the Browns-Texans matchup scheduled to start at 1 o'clock yesterday, Mother Nature delayed the game with lightning strikes and a rainstorm. It was a defensive battle for the Browns as Real G's move in silence, and Myles Garrett is able to get the goal line stop and Deshaun Watson to prevent the score. With the weather conditions, Baker had trouble throwing the ball yesterday, but on a critical 3rd and 18, he was able to find Hollywood Higgins, who makes a great catch on the sideline with a little toe drag swag and keeps the drive alive. And when you have the league's best running back, you give him the rock, as Nick Chubb returns to the lineup and scores to give the Browns a 10-0 lead. But the Texans were not going away, as Deshaun Watson was able to thread the needle to his tight end, Pharaoh Brown, for the score and cut the lead to 3. But big-time players made big-time plays, and on a critical 3rd and 3 in their own territory, Nick Chubb was able to break the run outside and wobble his way all the way down the sidelines and go out of bounds to ice the game. And ladies and gentlemen, for the first time since 2014, the Browns advance to a record of 6-3 and win by a final score of 10-7. Taking a look at the AFC North standings, the Steelers still remain atop at 9-0. The Ravens are in second place at 6-3 as they still have that tiebreaker over the Browns, and the Bengals are in last place at 2-6-1. If we take a look at the AFC playoff picture today, the Browns are just on the outside looking in at that number 8 seed, just behind the Colts, Raiders, Dolphins, and Ravens. But there is hope for the Browns as they will have favorable matchups against the Eagles, Jaguars, and Giants in the upcoming weeks in order to secure one of those wildcard spots. It's rivalry week for Kent State as the Golden Flashes will look to defend home turf and their Wagon Wheel Trophy tomorrow night against Akron at Ditt Stadium. The Flashes will look to continue their momentum after last week's impressive win over Bowling Green to advance to 2-0, while the Zips are looking to get back into the win column after falling to 0-2 last week against Ohio. And what better way to watch this rivalry than on primetime TV? Due to COVID concerns, the MAC rescheduled the game on Sunday to Tuesday night at 8 p.m. and will now be televised on ESPN. That's all I have for sports. Make sure to tune in to Sports Corner tonight at 8 p.m. for more Browns and Kent State football coverage. Back to you guys at the desk.
Now this story is bringing me back to my childhood. The new Barbie that might just be perfect for the doll lover in your life right before the holidays. Stick with us.
And how about this? Today has some health addicts turning to the drive-thru. Or maybe it doesn't, but it is still National Fast Food Day. We'll be back after these short messages.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover their unique mix of all kinds of traits.
Where'd Wiley go? Where's Wiley? Ah, there she is. Paw?
Do you remember being an ancient wolf? Do you ever feel the call of the wild?
You're a renegade cop, and I'm a con woman with nothing to prove. But together, we could really solve this murder.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but all of them are pure love.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Thanks for sticking with us. A new line of Barbie dolls hit shelves today. Mattel is releasing Barbie Extra, 5 dolls that have a playful and over-the-top style. The dolls have a range of body types, skin tones, and facial structures. They are also heavily accessorized. In fact, Mattel says when it comes to fashion, Barbie Extra has a more is more attitude. Even the dolls' pets have accessories. The new dolls are being sold at Target, Walmart, and on Amazon with a retail price of $24.99.
Fried chicken, burgers, pizza, and a day to celebrate it all. Monday is National Fast Food Day according to the National Day calendar. The term refers to prepackaged meals that require little preparation time. It says the founder of White Castle opened the chain's first location in 1921. Drive-ins took off in the 50s, and now the U.S. has the largest fast food industry in the world. As for myself, I may have to celebrate with a Taco Bell cheesy bean and rice burrito, to be festive.
And Santa is going digital. The U.S. Postal Service's Operation Santa launches today. The 108-year-old program fulfills wish lists for needy families and children, and for the first time, would-be gift givers can adopt families online. The new system will allow more children in need across the country to be reached. Kids can address their letters and lists to Santa at 123 Elf Road, North Pole. For more information about the program, head to the USPS OperationSanta.com. And that's all we have for you this Monday evening. Thanks for tuning in. You can always find the latest headlines and breaking news on Kent Wired.
And make sure to follow us on our social media channels at TV2 KSU. I'm Kyle Miller.
And I'm Lexi Biasi. Have a great night, Portage County.
Put the keys down, Kevin.
But I'm gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
My text to emoji ratio has gotten a little out of hand.
A little?
Yep, I'm definitely gonna call a ride home.
Wizard, roll for deceasedness.
My Dark Wizard casts Super Fireball.
The wizard has only rolled an 8.
What? This is garbage! Spell.
No way a roll like that doesn't hit a level 1.
I have 7.
You gotta be kidding
Oh my
me.
God!
Seriously,
What
it's
is
just
going
a baby
on?
goblin.
Cease your quarreling, children.
What?
No!
What
are you doing, you crazy monster?
Nanny?
Oh my what?
You should stop being nerds and playing D&D and be nerds and watch All Systems Go Wednesdays at 9. We'll We talk everything from movies, games, to anime and more.
Yeah, okay, seems reasonable.
Go watch All Systems Go.